A very good morning to everyone on this wet Sunday on the 12th of November. We're going to reflect on the third sutta, just correct, right? Third sutta of SD 45, that is SD 45.3, Dana Nisansa Sutta. Dana means giving. From the word dana, we get the English word donate, which comes through Latin, by the way. Anisansa means benefit. Benefit, goodness, blessing, advantage. Anisansa. Sutta means the thread of teaching handed down to us from the Buddha's time to this day. The reference number is A5.35. This is the 35th sutta in the book of fives, in the Anguttara Nikaya. In other words, we have 5 important items here. The theme is the 5 benefits of giving. In fact, giving, as we know, is the starting point of Buddhist practice. If you look at basic books on Buddhism, there's always a mention of giving first. Why is giving so important? Well, we have many ways of talking about this. Recently, a friend in Canada sent me a book, one of the best written books in our times, if you like. It's by this, I would say he's a Buddhist, from the way he writes and behaves, Robert Wright, on why Buddhism is true. Okay, I mean, I rarely buy hardbound books, so this friend of mine who really loves the suttas, he sent me this hardbound copies, so such a joy to receive it, and even a greater joy to read it, because this author's style is very simple and surprisingly more real, more committed, more authentic even of Buddhist practice. We are reading a book written by someone who actually practices Buddhism. And what is even more refreshing is that he's writing from a very interesting new angle, which is not the history of Buddhism, not the philosophy of Buddhism, not the sociology of Buddhism, not the anthropology of Buddhism, not philology of Buddhism. It comes to the area of psychology of Buddhism, but it's a very special area of psychology. It's called evolutionary psychology. So this writer basically explains to us why the Buddha teaches the things that he values, that he wants us to practice. So, as you know, when we talk about evolution, there is the natural selection and the evolution of species and so on. And in Buddhism, we talk about evolution. The Eightfold Path it can be seen as an evolutionary path. We change on the path. The path itself is our change. We don't just wait for the result of the path. So in that sense, the path has to be gradual. There must be the path. If you say awakening is sudden, we are saying there's no path. It's like what you call teleportation, transportation. The kind of you just get zapped from point A to some distant point B, thousands of miles away, like in those Star Trek series, if you like. Although that may be possible, but it's not exactly the way the path is presented. We go through the path, we travel the path. It is in that traveling that we change. It's just like eating, You don't just eat your food with one gulp and that's it, that's our meal for today. You chew your food, you kind of, in a sense, you enjoy the food and then it goes into your system, you get ingested and so on. So, why should we be generous? Why should we behave the way we do? That's one question. That's the good part, actually. There's one more question before that. Why do we behave badly? Or why is it that how we behave today doesn't help us to evolve, doesn't help us to be happy. So according to his ideas is that if you look back at the time when humans lived together as a tribe, as a family, even if you like, the Stone Age days. We're talking about evolution here, so if you go back in time when humans first evolved, and how did they evolve? What is it that allows humans to evolve? There's a lot to talk here, this whole theory of evolution. The basic thing is, if you like, there is this idea of Sangha. The humans, the first humans, were willing and able to live together. So what's the big advantage of living together? Number one, we have more heads to solve problems. Number two, safety, security. Right? And you can think of many other benefits of communal living. Love, relationships. And of course, the most important biologically is the family is able to reproduce itself. So you need other families. So it's not just one family. That family will very soon be exterminated in itself. So the family must connect with other families. So you have this bigger Sangha, if you like, to use the word in the original pre-Buddhist sense of herd, tribe. Then what keeps the tribe together? Here we come to today's point. It is the giving, the idea of giving. For example, those days when our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, they hunted and they gathered, right? Who usually hunt and gather? The men. Not because they're men, but because they're stronger and they are kind of more attuned to stalking prey, to hunting basically. On the other hand, if you talk about gathering, it's probably the women who are, who are better at it. If you look at the tea plantations, you see almost all the leaf pluckers, they're women. Because you got to be very kind of nifty, or whatever is the word. You got to be sharp and exact and pluck just the right kind of shoot. You have a sharp eye, coordination, that the more you pluck, the more money you get. So women are better in gathering. And moreover, gathering tends to be not so far away, nearer home, so safer, whereas hunting is a bit more life risking. But basically, when either parent come home, they give food to everybody at home, right? So, in a sense, there is no sense of ownership. There's no, this is mine, or this connection of I. In fact, interestingly, I think some cultures, even today, they don't have this sense of like I, as a separate individual from the community. If I'm not mistaken, the Koreans are one of those people who have that sense. Whether they're losing it or not, I don't know. Where we only have this communal sense. Nothing belongs to us. Whatever I have is there. You can use it, unless I'm wearing it or I'm eating it. In fact, it's one of the things that I noticed when I first went into a monastery, and this is really an amazing feeling. I remember I reached the temple late night, so in a sense all the monks and novices were sleeping. So I arrived in this huge monastery late at night, and when I got up in the morning, it's like being born again. I don't know where I am. I got lost the first couple of days, in fact, because all the quarters, the doors looked the same to me. They were like 15 sections, In one section you can have like up to, depends, sometimes 10, 15 monks, and plus lay workers, these temple boys. So it can be quite a lot. So I noticed that when I have something, it suddenly disappears, Then whether it's food or anything, unless it's on your plate, of course. Then I realized they actually share things. Whatever is mine is yours. It depends on who needs it. So you need it more, you take it. And they were amazingly generous. So here I am, this very, very civilized urban young man who just became a novice. So I have to readjust myself. In many ways, there is no exact boundary of ownership, and suddenly you feel kind of liberation where you are able to share, and whatever is yours is just always just you can use. And that's called communal living. So you imagine this is the kind of openness, freedom, support, a sense of connectedness in the days of our ancient forefathers. In a sense, this also is found in the early Buddhist community, the Buddha's community. So you can see the spirit of giving is the first and foremost spirit that allows the Sangha to exist, to grow, and to benefit others. So, for that reason, you can say, when it comes to teaching the lay people, dana, giving, is the first teaching that is given to you. Of course, we also need to emphasize that the monastics, the renunciants, also need our support. This we come to the second big reason. They have given up the world. What does it mean to give up the world? One way of talking is they have given up economic security. I mean, what is security to us today, even on a global scale? It is economic security. If you are not economically secure, then your nation will break up. In fact, if you look at all the antics that the world leaders are playing, some are more civilized, they try to befriend other nations or play the big brother role. Others try to threaten to destroy other nations, simply reminding you, hey, I exist. I mean, it's a very stupid way of reminding others you exist by trying to destroy them. Because if you destroy them, there's no one to acknowledge you exist. So the whole idea is we want this economic security. In many ways, even in the past, if you really go deep down into a study of historical conflicts, it goes down to economic security. The only thing is we don't see that. Even the religious wars, although we think of them in terms of beliefs and so on, like the terrible 30 Years' wars in Europe, that's the worst war that has ever occurred among human beings, short of the modern world wars. It kills millions in Europe. Until after that, people really got tired of religion. We forget this. We often forget this. And maybe in Asia, we did not go through the 30 Years' war. This is why, in a sense, we trivialize religion. We do not really know what religious freedom is. And we do not know what good religion is. Because we never really suffered enough. But in European history, the people really suffered because of religion. 30 years war just because of religion. Although it is a fight about beliefs, underlying all this, even religion needs economic security. Every religion you go to, when you go to their source, so to speak, their most holy places, there are always things there, buildings, places, and wealth of things. Rome is one of the richest cities in the world. So you can see this, at the heart of religion is not holiness, it is buildings and wealth. Isn't that strange, you might say? Well, people are people, they need material things to support themselves. That is why the Buddha keeps reminding the monks through the Vinaya. There are simple rules like do not accept grain, do not accept slaves, do not store things. There are rules for certain kinds of food, for example. You cannot keep overnight, or you cannot keep for more than a few days. There's always a rule that you have to let it go. So once the monk starts walking, he doesn't lug along a big cart of things, He just, the sutta says, the monk moves around with nothing, but he moves around like this bird with only its 2 wings to fly, the burden of only 2 wings, so that it can fly. He doesn't bring his worldly things along with him. So the monk's life is very simple. He can move around anywhere, and when he does move around, it's for our benefit, to teach us Dharma, to show the presence of the Dharma in the world, the availability of the Dharma in the world. And then this monk also can easily be supported. You just need to come to a good temple when there is a small group of really good practicing monks or nuns who are not here for the donation, who are not here to collect money and then go back to some other country and to their retreat centers and so on. They just come here to teach us the Dharma. And these are monks who don't touch money, so you don't give them money, you give them food. But let's say there are, think of a big number, let's say 5 monks, and you have 100 people, usually more than that, 500 people. Now you have 100 people coming for just 5 months, that's about 100% to a month, so to speak, And let's say they all bring food, all right? Some people bring a lot of food, enough to feed 10 people. Some bring just a Tupperware of food. So the little or much you bring, those monks cannot take much food. In fact, you'll be told, you just need to give 1 spoonful of food to each monk, we always said there are 5 miles, and then you divided 500 by 5, you get 100 monks to 1 person. Wow, can you imagine how many people is going to put 1 spoonful of food into 1 bowl? It's a lot of food, So you find, actually, another way is, only a few people put food in the bowl. Sometimes the monks may say, okay, please put the food in the bowl. Sometimes the monks understand it's a bit difficult for everyone to do that. So they say, okay, you together offer the meal. So that's called an invitation meal. It's not, the Buddha allows that. It's not the one that you, although the Buddha is never known to have eaten the way we eat with all those dishes laid out like that. He always eats from his bowl. But in modern times, that kind of eating is allowable, where the food is laid out nicely for you. So we offer that to the monks. Even then, not much food. How much can 1 person eat, right? You give out whatever you can. And then you don't talk to the monks. You're not supposed to. There are good monks who tell you, please leave us so that we can mindfully eat, all right? They're not so good monks who chit-chat with you, conversing like politicians, which you're not supposed to do. So they eat very peacefully, and you watch them, they're a paragon of peaceful eating. That's the way you should be eating. You should be yourselves eating your meals. And you feel very happy doing all this. You have given to the monks. And because you know that if you don't give to them, they still feel okay. You will go on ashram, collect food from the villages in the far north of Thailand, where the people are very poor, you don't get much food. You may get some brown rice, and I was told maybe you're lucky, you might get a boiled frog, frog's leg maybe, and that's your meal for the day. That's how they keep trim and healthy also, by the way. And they don't do much, they do physical exercise in the sense the younger monks, they sweep the floor, they do some repairs, But the point is, those arahats, they have no more attachment, if you remember. So if you do not support them, and they are not able to get any food, and they're arahats, they just go into meditation. They'll sit as long as they like, until maybe you come and stir them or invite them for a meal. They just go on meditating. How long can a human being stay in meditation without food? Not very long. Traditionally, it is said that most meditators would stop after 7 days and come back to this world to give strength back to the body and so on. I mean, if they go on meditating, let's say, for 49 days, then maybe, I think during the 7 weeks after the Buddha's first awakening, he probably did not take any food. So we can imagine, okay, maybe you can say for 49 days, the Buddha did not take any food. But surely he drank water, because he took breaks every week. Whether he ate during the break, the weekly break or not, we are not told. So we can assume he did not eat. But we must assume that he goes to the toilet and he drinks, that's why he needs the break. But my point is, imagine, let's say an Arahat arises in a place where there's no donor, no one supports him. He'll just go meditating and then he dies. And he has no problem with that. That's the Arahat. Okay? He doesn't go around say, here is a poor Arahat, please support me, otherwise I'm going to die. He doesn't do that. So when we support an Arahat, when we give dana to an Arahat, in a sense, what we are really told, we only told what? Oh, do this and you get all these 5 benefits in the Dana Nisangsa Sutta. So this is where, let me just quickly tell you 5 benefits we are told, and then I go on to my explanation. So if you look, this is a very short sutta, so I can just fit into my introductory talk actually. Look at page 18. Bhikshus, there are these 5 benefits of giving. What are the 5? 1 is dear and agreeable to the multitude. People just love us. Okay, so the first benefit is love. Okay, page 38, 38. Number 2, the truly good individuals, Sapurisa, or peaceful true individuals, associate with one. Right? In other words, we have really good friends. And partly this also out of gratitude to us, because they know, wow, this is a great person, he has done this great kindness to us. The least we could do is to befriend this person. So this is gratitude, right? Number 3, the benefit is one's good reputation spreads, right? So here we have respect from others. Right? People respect us because we are supportive and kind. Number 4, one deviates not from the household code. Basically, these are the 5 precepts. So this is, I call this appreciation of being. It's also a kind of respect. People respect us, we respect others, we appreciate them. We respect their life, their property, their freedom. We are truthful to them and we want them to have wisdom. And then number 5, when the body breaks up after death, we are reborn in a happy heavenly world. So this is good for us, right? So there's a traditional list of benefits we get. It's a quid pro quo almost. So, I mean, if you tell the lay people, oh, you don't feed the arahats, they will die, and then there's no one to teach us. People somehow are not so moved by this. Only the wise might think about it. A few might respond, but there's no public response. So the arahats will not last very long. The Sangha of the Buddha's time will not last very long. But if you tell them, okay, this is what you get, people respect you, people love you, people appreciate you, and it is good, then you say, yeah, okay, it's worth doing, right? Right? For example, if your friend invites you for something and you say, why should I do it? All your friend need to say is, it's good, and that's good enough. It's because your friend told you so. Your colleagues tell you so, your relatives tell you so, your parents tell you so, right? So this is a provisional teaching, if you like. It's a kind of telling us, hey, it's good to do this, right? We don't need to say too much. Only after the giving, after you have your meal, you feel good and rested, and you say, okay, what's next? And then the Buddha or the teacher will tell you, okay, there are other benefits. In fact, these benefits are more important, and here it is, right? Or here they are. Right, so this giving benefits the Sangha, not merely the Arahats, but the non-returners, the one-returners, and the streamers, and also the worldlings. Most of the monks are worldlings, okay? Now, if you look at the history of Buddhism, you find the first 10 years especially, the monks and nuns, they were all arahats, or at least luminous, right? So before the Buddha stretches his hand out and says, Ehi bhikkhu, or singular, or Eta bhikkhave, plural, meaning come O monk or come O monks, respectively. Or you can say Ehi bhikkhuni or Eta bhikkhuni, right? Come O nun or come O nuns, because they already attained certain levels of awakening. Now, if they're already arahats, then the Buddha would just say, come O monk, live the holy life. And that's all I need to say, because they're already awakened, so they just need to live the holy life. But if they are not arahats, they are streaminers and one-returners and non-returners, then Buddha would say, come O monk, live the holy life, and then kind of, reminds this person to practice, to complete the holy life. In other words, live the whole life in its fullness, to reach arahathood. In fact, the Buddha makes a big deal of attaining arahathood in the suttas. If you look very carefully, the thing is, I want to imagine the Buddha's teaching concentric circles. You go right to the center, you have the Buddha and the arahats. So the Buddha would say, practice until you become arahats. And then slowly, as time passes, you find that others also are interested in becoming monks, but they are not arahats. Then the Buddha tells the monks, okay, you can accept other monks so that they have a chance to live the holy life. And although they might not even become streamliners in this life, they live good lives, they create good karma in the future, they are able to listen to the Buddha's teaching, even become good monks and nuns. So the core teaching, the Buddha talks about becoming arahats. For this reason, we have often, the Buddha would tell the monks in the longer suttas, the Majjhima Sutta especially, the Buddha would say, monks, there is more to be done. There is more to be done. In fact, for all of us, there's much more to be done. That's why we come here every other Sunday, or we try to read suttas on our own. It's because there's more to be done. We still need to cultivate. We still need to grow up. We don't just grow old. We need to change. Otherwise, old age will always be with us, life after life. Then, what is this more to be done? As long as you're not an arahat, there's more to be done. Even if you're a streamliner, there's more to be done, because you have not attained once return, non-return, and arahathood. If you are not a Buddhist, there's more to be done. Is to be a Buddhist, meaning to start your journey towards the Eightfold Path. We are not on the Eightfold Path yet, because we are not streamliners. We are still outsiders in a sense. But for us, there is still something to be outside of. You must remember, there are others who are not even outsiders. They are foreigners, if you like. They're elsewhere. But here we are. We're outside the walls of the university. We're at the city gates, if you like. Or we might even be inside the university. We might be outside the hall where you apply to join the university, but you have not signed the form to be a student yet. You have not been accepted yet. But once you're accepted, you're qualified, say, okay, then you are an insider, you're a streamliner. So only when we start stepping on the Eightfold Path, then you're a streamliner. But the good thing for us is we have some clear vision what that path is. We have a clear vision. We have to approach this path, start journeying on this path. It's like, you are living home. You're driving in your car, you're taking all these small roads, you're trying to get out of the town. I was from Malacca, Malacca town is it's become so crowded now, the roads are so narrow, one-way street, you really have to know your way. So you go round and round, like samsara, and finally You could ask, maybe your child may ask, are we out yet? Are we out of the city? And then, okay, you're out of the city when you hit the highway. So once you're on the highway, wow, you kind of, well, first you have to go one big round, this round, I don't know what you call that kind of road, and then a feeding road, I think. Then you go to the highway, then zoom, you just keep going, okay? Now you look at the signs. So there you are. The journey starts when you are on the highway, okay? So do not take the road less taken. It's not very safe, okay? Only poetry must sound very nice. But in real life, if you take the road less taken, there are lots of risks there. So there you are. We're talking about this journey. We're talking about things that needs to be done. So you can imagine, I started off trying to tell you why dana is important, so you can see the ramification. You can see dana, giving, is at the basis of spiritual life, of giving. That's about monks, What about lay people? Lay people also, giving is a very important aspect. Do you notice if you live in a kampong, you live in a village, a place where everyone knows everybody, you're kind to each other, you won't go hungry, you don't feel lonely. In fact, it's very difficult. It's impossible to feel lonely because almost everyone will be talking to you until you fall asleep. I have, friends from India who do go back to India. They will tell us, they say once they go back to their village in India, there will be no secrets. And people will be asking them, where are you from? What do you do? What do you eat? What happened? Everything. It's like a confession. You have to tell them everything. There are no secrets. So it's a very different kind of environment. In fact, there is a sociologist called George Simmel, as a German sociologist, who talks about these two ways of living. He says nowadays we tend to live in a company-like environment, Gemeinschaft. Whereas the older way, where people are more connected, is the Gesellschaft, a very sociable way of life. So it's very kampong kind of life. If you are living in this kampong kind of life, everybody knows everyone else. In this kind of environment, you're not likely to break the precept, because you'll be easily pointed out and caught. Everyone know you, and you're going to get into serious trouble because you don't buy food in this kind of environment. You share food, so you might feel terrible eating with this kind of your colleagues, So amongst lay people who have this wonderful connection, they thrive on giving. It basically is like a small family. Once you go home, you don't pay for the meals. I've never seen a family where you have a little charger, or I don't know what you call, some instrument where you touch your card, cash card, or putting coins, and then you sit on the table and eat. No parents have charged their children for meals. I've never heard of that, have you? Right? Or even to pay rent living in the house, We call it support. We give some money to the family out of love. It's never enough. You can't measure, the kind of love and care that you've given us. So we just give a bit back. So it's charity. Charity means unmeasurable, immeasurable returns to others. So one reason we give to others is because we owe them, in a sense, Maybe not in this life, but in the past. So that's one way of looking at it. Another way is, take Buddhist work this time, right? We get together, we do Buddhist work. Not everybody can do the kind of work, let's say, a Dharma speaker does, or a translator does. But without you, there's no point in translating, there's no point in teaching. So even like we're gathered here, although we are a relatively small group, our audience is the whole world. We put our talk, this talk you're listening to, on the internet, and anyone out there can look at it. We are teaching the whole world. And not only teaching the whole world, we are teaching the future also. As long as this technology exists, you can click a button and then listen. You can still listen to this talk. But how is this possible? It's possible because of this common effort that we all put in. The fact that you all are present here, the fact that you are supporting this Buddhist work, and because of charity, so it goes back down to dana. So you see, dana is such a very simple, very vital aspect of Buddhist work. As long as we're not awakened, you need this kind of support. This is the exchange we share to appreciate each other, to prepare ourselves to listen to the Dharma, to basically prepare ourselves to go onto the path of awakening. Right? So now let's go look back at the sutta one more time. This time the ending of it. Okay. So you find after the teaching in prose, you have the verse here. So this is on page 39. The verses on the benefit of giving. Tadamano piyo hoti sapang dhammang anukamang santo nan sada pajanti sanyata brahma charaya. By giving, one is beloved, one who follows the nature of the good, the peaceful always associate with one, the brahmacharis who are restrained. Okay, brahmacharis here refer to the celibate renunciants. Then the closing verse says, before that, notice this verse kind of summarizes the previous prose teaching of the Buddha. Now the benefit, when you support the monks, the teachers, then they teach us. So this is what the second verse says, section 4. Te tassa dhammang de senti sabba dukkha panudanang yang so dhammang idhan nyaya parinibati anasavoti. They teach one the Dharma that dispels all suffering. The Dharma, having understood which influxes are destroyed, one attains nirvana. So this one is the response that we get. So these two verses summarizes the teaching on giving. So here you can see giving is not just giving donations or things. That is giving what we have. There is something else which is giving of what we are. It's easy to give what we have. In a sense, what we have don't actually belong to us. It happens to be in the proximity of our being, and in a sense there is some social convention, some legality. We own something, we give it. Okay? There are things which are external to us, in a sense. Money, things. In fact, if you look at the four supports, food, clothing, medicines, and lodging, these are external things. On the other hand, on a higher level, there is chaga. Instead of dana, there's a higher kind of giving. It is called chaga. Chaga is not mentioned more often than dana because chaga is more difficult. Chaga can also, in a sense, be translated as sacrifice. You give a bit of yourself. You give what you are. So remember the difference between what you have and what you are. Your having and your being. What we are. What is it? What is it that we are? Well, we are our energy. Our energy. We are our time. We have time. We have energy. Right? And things like that. What we are. So what does it mean to say we give what we are? One way is to give your time. For example, a simple act of coming here, coming for sutta study. As I said many times before, you don't have to be here. You can be doing a lot of other things more enjoyable, with the commas, than sitting here listening to me talking, right? But what's the big difference? Well, one way we can look at it in a Buddhist sense is whenever you go out there enjoying yourself in some beautiful garden or watching a show or even happily talking with some friends, you are using up your savings, your good karma, okay? But when you come here, you are saving, you are putting in some into your savings. You're creating wonderful good karma that allows you to actually enjoy life. Because if you don't have peace of mind, you don't have good health, you don't have presence of your mind, you won't be able to really enjoy all these things, right? So we're talking about enjoyment in the true sense of the word, really feeding the senses in a healthy way. All right? So if you're a good Buddhist, it is said that you'll be reborn with all your senses intact and all your senses functional, not only functional but very sensitive in a good sense, or maybe sensible is a better word. If you look at one of the 32 marks of the Buddha as a Superman, many of these marks are difficult to explain in a human way, you know? But moments like this, it makes good sense. For example, we are told the Buddha has got 40 teeth. Wow, that's a lot of teeth. The dentist will tell you, wow, that's really great. 20 down and 20 up, you know. So they have to renumber the teeth, you know. So, what's so great about having 40 teeth? Well, you have to have a big jaw, you know. The thing is, better to chew your food with, for example, all right, and so on. So, to me, having this 40 teeth means the mouth is complete, is able to really eat well, you know, right? So it really enjoys good food. So if you are truly a good Buddhist, you find you will enjoy all these blessings of the five senses. Because what else can we really enjoy in this world? Nothing but the fruits of our five senses. Okay? So that's the blessing you get back through giving. So when we give what we are, we also can give our time, right? We give our energy. For example, we help people to do some things that we can do. Some people, someone, an ex-Catholic, emailed me, messaged me and said, can you please recommend a temple I can go to? I have to spend some time sweeping the temple. I said, wow, what a noble aspiration. Right? Just go there, do something very humble, just to sweep. Because that sweeping is so peaceful, so symbolic, of clearing the mind. So we can give our energy and labor. We can also give our wisdom. We can share our wisdom, and this is also very useful. For example, you have people who are very good in technology. You find I have these two really wonderful dictionaries online. One is in Pali, one Sanskrit. Someone in Vietnam has taken the trouble to type in everything. 4 or 5 dictionaries all into one. It's computerized. So you just key in the word you want, and then you get all this selection, all the 4 or 5 dictionaries. So you just choose which one you want, and it's really helpful to me. And then not many people know this, but he's also he has also digitalized Monia Williams' SED, Sanskrit English Dictionary. It's a huge, big volume, It's a double A4 size volume, and it's about this thick, a few thousand pages. And here's, I don't know how many hours you spend digitizing all these things. And you just type the word without any diacritic. You just type it, and then the computer will recognize it and then list you all the words, and you select what you want. It's really helpful to me. So that's the gift of wisdom. This person knows how to use digital technology, and he's done this. And then you help people, teachers, to digitize the teachings, to make it more easily accessible. Maybe some people suggesting that I'm using MS Word for my translation. Someone said, why don't you use HTML? It's more accessible, more easily used on the internet, and so on. So this is a gift of wisdom. So giving what you are means you give your time, your energy, your wisdom, and another important giving what you are is your compassion. Your compassion, your willingness to give an ear to people when they have a problem. Sometimes you say, oh no, here's another person with a problem. No, you don't say that. You listen carefully and you understand. You say, oh, this person has so much difficulties. Of course, we need to be trained for this kind of listening. We must be careful about not giving advice, and yet we need to give advice in a proper way. So this wise listening, deep listening. And the most important giving of all, finally, of giving what you are, we all know very well what it is, right? What is it? You remember? The highest giving of them all. That's the gift of the Dharma. Okay? Now the gift of the Dharma is a very difficult gift, It's not what you know. Then it's just gift of knowledge, You say, oh, I read this here, I read this there, someone said this, someone said that. Well, they might be helpful to some people. But let me give you an example of the gift of the Dharma. As I've told you before, I sat down for 2 hours just listening to this Ajahn Sumedho talking to me about the Vinaya. But actually it's the gift of the Dharma. Because he did not talk technicality to me. He simply spoke with such deep peace. All that I hear is a peacefulness which I don't forget to this day. He spoke with such peacefulness that I just remember that peace. It's like the frog, and the farmer, remember? In the Manduka Vimanawatu, this frog listening to the Buddha's voice, so peaceful. And it's so happy, in a sense, as far as frogs can be happy. And the farmer comes along and accidentally pokes the poor frog and he dies. But he dies happy. And is reborn as a deva. So here we are. This monk's teaching the Vinaya in the Dharma way, very peaceful. He doesn't have to talk to me, I think that day he talked to me because he said, okay, I'm a young monk and I can speak English, so why not give him the best, And that's something I am so grateful, that gift of the Dharma, that gift of peace. So you can imagine, when people read the suttas, if they tell me, wow, what a great scholar you are, wow, I shrink very tiny, I say, oh no, that's not what I want to be, It's not really a compliment, if you tell me I'm a great scholar, but there are many other great scholars. It's not that I want to be greater than anybody, it's not the purpose of studying the suttas. But if you tell me, you say, wow, when I read this sutta, I feel so happy. Oh, that's good enough for me. Because the translation is not my work. This is not my teaching. This is the Buddha's teaching. I'm trying to understand the Buddha's teaching myself. And if you understand the Buddha's teaching, there are some clear signs. Number one, you're happy. Number two, you are wise. And these two are good enough. So if this person says, wow, I'm so happy, I said, thank you, sadhu, very happy to hear that. Number two, if he says, oh, now I understand better what the Buddha is teaching, I also feel happy. So you begin to see the benefits of giving that. In that sense, the gift of the Dharma is the highest gift, the best gift, because you bring happiness to others, you change their lives. And most important of all, you help to strengthen the thread, the sutta, so that it continues into the future. As you know, imagine this golden road, beautiful, bright path that travels through the jungle and desert, mountains, and there are all kinds of monsters lurking on both sides. trying to break up the road, divert the road, mislead travelers. There are many stories of this. Even today, people who claim to be Buddhists are talking something else, changing things. But here you are. There is this path. So when someone gives you the Dharma, it's like this person is telling you, this is the path. It's hidden, but if you clear all the debris, you'll see this golden road. Stay on it. Keep moving. Don't stop. That's the gift of the Dharma. That's the highest gift. Now, if you can't give the highest gift, we give a little lower, a little simpler, and that makes possible the higher gifts. And as we progress in life, we also refine our giving. We learn to give our own time. We learn to give more time to the Dharma. Because we can always be depending on others for the Dharma. Ultimately, we have to do it ourselves, meditate ourselves, and liberate ourselves. That's the final giving, where you give yourself the best gift of all, the gift of the Dharma itself. Okay? Right, according to my watch, it is 20 seconds to 12, just nice. Eh? So there you are, that's a short reflection on giving. So, when I look at this study notes yesterday, I was quite worried, I said, oh no, another study on dana. I said a simple thing, everyone knows what dana is. What is there to talk about, So I don't know. So okay, never mind, just sit there and be inspired and just tell people how you feel. Tell people how you have experienced the Buddha's teaching. And then somehow, things will work out. So I'm very happy that I've managed to hopefully talk something sensible, useful to you this morning or this day, wherever you are in the future. So do read the sutta and reflect on the teachings of dana. All right, question time.
The 5 benefits of giving: 1, 2, the whole 1, whole 2, the bracket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
The 5th benefit: when the body breaks up after death, one is reborn in a happy, heavenly world. Is that the ideal that really we want to encourage to because my understanding is heavenly life is so long and happy.
Yes.
It's difficult to come back and come
right.
back.
True. Very good question. There you are. See, if there are more people like you ask this kind of question, the Buddha would not have to give this kind of teaching. See, this is like a small chunk of the cake, so you can easily eat it. Like I said, if you tell people all those things, no point going to heaven, because if you go to heaven, no matter how long the life is there, when the karma is finished, you go down back to hell. Nobody will come. People will say, oh dear, not only that, they feel disastrous. They say, oh no, there's no hope for us. So you must give them some kind of confidence, if you like. So this is the gradual teaching. Remember, this is the first step in this long series. The Buddha will first talk about dana and about precepts, about the bad dangers of doing bad, about heaven, and giving up all these negative actions. So, of course, this is not false. On the other hand, the Buddha doesn't teach anything false. Here, yes, you are being reborn in a heaven. Remember, later on, the Buddha will always say, but. There's always a but. Okay? For example, in the Digajana Sutta, Sigalovada Sutta, and suttas about layman happiness, the Buddha often says, work hard, work honestly. Number 2, save, keep all this wealth gathered safely so that kings will not take it away, fire will not burn it, water will not wash it away, bad airs will not waste it, right? So when the Buddha talks to the monks, he said, these lay people, they work hard and then they protect their money so that kings will not take it away, fire will not burn it, water will not wash it away, and bad airs will not waste it away. But if you see, the kings do take it, the fire do burn it, water does wash it away, and bad air still wasted. Anyway, it does happen. So he tells the monks, a higher level. So this is sometimes the teaching of the two truths. Okay, the two truths. The first truth is the conventional truth, the worldly truth. Okay, what do you want if you're a man of the world? You want to save money. You don't want to be told it's not worth it. There can be a crash. And you lose all your money. Right? They don't want to hear that. They want to know. Okay, how do I save my money? How do I multiply it? How do I become rich? They don't ask how do I become happy. Only when they are wise or when something disaster strikes, then they say, oh dear, now I realize all these things don't make me happy. How do I become happy? Then they ask the right questions. Then the Buddha will say, okay, this is the deal. So the Buddha is giving this teaching and answers to the level that they can take. And in a sense, that's enough for them at that time. Then once they reach that level, they'll ask the Buddha, what next? What do I do next? Then the Buddha will give them. So this is teaching when people are ready. Alright? So yes, it's very true. If you can realize that, you say, wow, okay, going to heaven, is that the best we can get? As you know, the law of impermanence also covers heaven, And what's worse, that we do not know, that if we study deeper into the sutta, it is still Mara's realm. Technically speaking, Mara's realm is right up to even the formless worlds, Although he has less power there, but it will come back. Even those who live in the highest, the base of neither perception or non-perception, they will end their lives, they will still go down. So you get caught up in this samsara. And Mara gleefully wants that of you. Only when you break out of this cycle, you're to nirvana, Mara has no hold on you anymore. Okay, any other feedback, questions? Another aspect of giving, which is not often spoken of, is to give yourself the opportunity. Give yourself a chance. Whenever we say give yourself a chance, it can mean it's okay to make mistakes. And when we say it's okay to make mistakes, what are we talking about? It's you must learn. In fact, I like to tell people, suffering is our first teacher. Even before we know the Buddha, there is suffering. After a while, we say, oh, this suffering is not good. What is it that can be better than this? So there you are. Teaching, suffering is teaching us something. So in that sense, the Buddha teaches us to get down to basics. You find if you visit other religions, and there was a time when I had all the time in the world, so I would join various other religious groups. And they even invite me to give talks. But somehow I find that even the best thing they can tell me, there's still something missing. I mean, they're nice people, they're friendly, they talk very intelligently, and they're very devoted to what they believe in. But believe me, they can do that because they have resources. There's something we never think of, People who are religious also have the means to be religious. They have the leisure, the time to be religious. They have the money to be religious, the time to be religious, the opportunity, circumstances to be religious, and the inclination to be religious. But I can tell you, you go to any of these respectable groups of religious people, whether Buddhists or not, if they suddenly lose all their money, I don't think they will be as religious. They'll be a very different kind of person. So never forget that. So this is where I would say I'm very fortunate in that sense. We don't have to be rich to be sutta translators. You just translate, because it's a great joy to do so. Then there are people who will support you because they know you are doing something good. Not many, but enough. I mean, it's not a fabulous thing, to translate sutta, especially with lots of notes. People say, wow, how to read all this is very difficult. But they don't see the joy of it, All right? So there you are. Give yourself that chance. Give yourself that chance. And give the Dharma a chance, most importantly.
Give others a chance.
Oh, yes, definitely. All right? So the word chance, okasa, in Pali. And in Thai becomes Oka. Oka, that means opportunity. O-K-A-S-A. O-K-A with the long A, Okasa. Okay? In fact, this is a very important word. When you get ordained, you ask the monks assembled to accept you as a monk. You say, Okasa Bante. Or say, Venerable Sir, give me the opportunity, to escape from suffering. So, Okasa is the opening, opportunity. In the Sambada Sutta, the Buddha, one of the monks said, well, this is amazing. The Buddha has given us this opening in this world which is so crowded. Right? So that's another very interesting imagery, the crowd. We are here in this very spacious place. I mean, one of the delights to me come on Sunday is our meet old friends. It's like a family thing, We talk to each other about the Dharma. Isn't that wonderful? I don't have this idea, oh dear, I do not know who am I going to talk to, this big crowd, how will they respond to me? Some of this, even this writer of the book called Why Buddhism is Right, his name also is Mr. Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. He actually writes quite honestly in his book. He says, the night before I'm giving a talk, a lecture, I feel so queasy, I'm not sure, I get so worried, how will the audience respond and so on, right? But I don't feel that way. I thought myself, it's very nice, these people, they want to listen to the Dharma. And you all have been following this volume, sutta by sutta, chapter by chapter. You didn't go through and say, okay, this is interesting, I'll come for this. Oh, I won't come for this, it's boring, it looks boring. You come whenever you can, and that's wonderful. And I must admit to you, I do have some apprehension coming for class. I say, I hope I can inspire the students, What if one day they say, oh no, suttas again, and they stop coming? That would be terrible, right? So I said, I better inspire them too. Anyway, sutta is over like now, past 12. I'm so relieved, I'm happy. I said, done, my karma is gone for this, and I can get back to my work. And I have a very important essay to write. And this essay is hanging in the air. It's called The Miraculous Life of Gautama Buddha. And just these few days I learned some amazing things about the miraculous life of the Buddha. Something which no teachers could have taught me, except the Buddha himself, of course. I thought myself, what can I write? Why did I choose this title? I almost regretted. I said, The Miraculous Life of the Buddha. Then I said, okay, just sit down and see what is it can be written. Then first of all, you got to limit yourself. What is your scope? I told myself, okay, when you talk about miraculous life of the Buddha, what are you talking about? And I said, okay, maybe we limit it to just the life of the Buddha from the day he was born, maybe a little earlier, up to his awakening, or just before the awakening. Because the life of the Bodhisattva, before he became Buddha, is full of miraculous tales, amazing tales. But once the Buddha awakens as Buddha and starts teaching, you find he's presented more as a historical person. You begin to see him more as down to earth, as the Buddha. So then I told myself, this is very interesting, because there are other important terms like myth, legends. What's the difference between myth and legend? So I told myself, okay, if you look at the Buddha as Bodhisattva, you can understand him, you can see him as a myth. And then I explained myth. Myth is something, it's a common idea which a lot of people have about the Buddha. Anywhere you go, so this is the idea I have to go back and write about, which I have not yet written, I'm just telling you. Anyone, any non-Buddhist you meet who is informed in some way, intelligent in some way, when you tell them Buddha, what is their image in their minds? You yourself know very well. What image do they have of the Buddha? Someone peaceful, that's definite. Someone peaceful. Someone wise. Right? So that's the myth. Okay? The myth of the Buddha is found in every religious person who is intelligent. Now, of course, there are people who say, oh, it's just a myth, but that's the definition of myth is something false. That's different. Okay? because serious scholars, they understand, you have, for example, the Greek myths. We don't say they are, we may say they are not real, maybe, yeah, but we cannot say they are useless. They are useful stories. Because those Greek myths are very popular, they're very important. People write books, people paint hundreds of paintings about them. Because the myth is a collective memory, an idea, some values, sufferings and quests and trouble that people as a community, the human race, experience. In other words, the Greek myths can be appreciated by anyone from any race, any intelligent person. So that's the meaning of myth. A collective memory and understanding of their common day-to-day experience. Right? But once you see the Buddha as, or Buddha as Buddha after the awakening, you find you cannot really apply myth in that sense anymore. Then you can say, okay, in that sense we can say Buddha as legend. Legend, that means the story has got no historical basis. You go to anywhere in Southeast Asia, in the villages, you ask them about Buddha, they will tell, oh, Buddha, yes, they will tell you Buddha was in India. But the idea of the Buddha is no more historical. It's almost magical. You ask the Mahayana, it's even worse. They say, oh, the Buddha probably somewhere in outer space, everywhere, and so on. You know? So you see Buddha as legend, in other words. Right? So this is one, in a very simple way of speaking, the Buddha as myth and legend. And I'm still writing about this in a moment anyway. So you can imagine the excitement of wanting to write this essay. And to be quite honest with you, part of me got very tired of writing essays. I told myself, oh no, I've written 100 essays, isn't that enough? 100 sutta essays in the last 15 years, So I tried to avoid putting essays in the new SD volumes. But in this case, that's one. I keep pushing it, but sooner or later you have come to it anyway before I die, I have to finish it. So this is SD 52, number 1, The Miraculous Life of Gautama Buddha. So I have to write it. So when I start writing it, it's actually very interesting. So there you are. You give yourself a chance at the Dharma, you find it's actually quite a beautiful experience. Oh, one more thing I didn't tell you. I've already finished SD 51 A and B, part 1, part 2. So in other words, it's 6 months work. I finish it. I'm supposed to, I'm given the time until end of this month, November. No, sorry, end of October, November, December. October, November, December. Okay, I have to finish by last month, but I finish it much earlier. So I don't have to start.
By last month.
I'm sorry, I got mixed up. I'm talking about A. Volume B, actually it is December, right?
Yeah.
I can work until December, but I already finished it last month. So you imagine I've got previously I thought I only had 1 month break. Actually, I have 2 months break. Okay? So I told myself I don't have to do anything for 2 months. Oh, that's a fable. It's not even a myth. It's a fable. It's not true. Fabulous. Because I told myself maybe during that period I update the old files, the proofread files, and then start the next volume 52 in January. So I don't have to start working until January. But here I am, I told myself, somehow I just couldn't do it. I couldn't not do. So I just looked at the title and I just started writing something, the framework ideas, it just started coming in. This is how the Dharma sometimes actually pulls you through inspiration, So that's my life, all right? Okay. It's even better if you give freely. And that's what makes Buddhist charity even more precious and spiritual. Because we give with joy, we give because we want to give, right? No strings attached, in a sense, no desire for benefit. Although, we might say generally some people still think that way. You find those who don't study suttas, for example, on Vesak Day, they put small gift, they expect something big. That's called investment, like I said, right? Whatever it is, we have a choice over teachings, over levels of wisdom, and that's a great thing about being a Buddhist. We can observe things and say, oh, this can be better, this is not good enough, we can see that. And I think it's a very wonderful, the gift of freedom and the gift of wisdom, they kind of go together. Okay, I think we end here for today. I'm happy things turn out this way. Unless there's some urgent question, I think. Okay, let us close with a short reflection. Today we have reflected on giving, one of the key and very, very basic teachings of the Buddha. We may forget a lot of other very deep teachings. This is one teaching we must never forget. The idea and the act of generosity, giving ourselves a chance, giving others a chance. So when we practice dana, what we are doing is we are giving an opening to others. We are giving others opportunity to be their best, to give their best, so that we receive the best and others also benefit from the best. The best, of course, is the Dharma itself. So reflecting in this way is wonderful good karma. But the power of this good karma and the power of the three jewels, let us cultivate loving kindness towards ourselves, that we may be well and happy to study, practice and realize the Buddha's teaching and teach the Dharma for the benefit of others. And then let us send out our loving kindness to our loved ones, those who have supported us. Those who are practicing the Dharma, may they be well and happy. And let us send out our loving kindness to everyone here for being so kind and charitable and allowing us to use this place comfortably and in a very advantageous way to learn and spread the Dharma. And let us send out our loving kindness to all those who are struggling to know the truth, seeking the path. May they find the noble path in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.